Hello everyone, welcome back to Beyond the Veil Tarot and Astrology. My name is Candace Marie. Thanks for joining me. Happy Friday. Hopefully you guys are doing well. We're going to be doing live readings on the channel this evening. Do me a favor, if you can see me, give me a thumbs up and like the stream. It's really helpful for the algorithm. Let other people know also that we're going live. How's it going? Give some little bit of time for people to kind of shuffle in. If you're new to my channel, welcome. I'm a Western astrologer. I also work with the art of tarot. We hang out here every Friday, and we alternate every other week between doing tarot readings and astrology readings. We're going to be doing tarot readings this evening. If you see this QR code up here, that'll take you to my PayPal where you can donate if you'd like to get a reading. It's $20 donation for one card, $40 donation for a 3-card spread. You can ask whatever you want. Just go to the PayPal. You can put in your question in the memo, any information you'd like, and then also make your donation and you'll get in the queue and I can pull some cards for you live in my digital tarot card reading office. I guess that's technically what this is. How's everybody doing? What's up, Emma? I got you on my list. Hey, Rachel. Hey, A. Hey, Lightweaver. Hello. How's it going, guys? I'm excited to be able to read for you guys this evening. Just as a reminder, this is going to be the last, I guess like the last Friday for the month of May. So if you happen to be a level 3 subscriber and you would like to get your reading, you can cash in on that now if you want. Emma is a level 3, so we'll be taking her first. What's up, Sonia? Hey, Dave. Hey, Laura. So we'll be taking Emma, and then I think I have Stephanie in the queue. Let me see who else I have in the queue. And if your guys' name is different on YouTube than it is on PayPal, just let me know. We've got a couple questions for Stephanie, Jonathan, and Rachel. Rachel's tired. So anybody who wants to get a reading, we're going to be doing tarot by donation only. So if you want a reading, you can make a donation. We also take super chat. Last reading. No, it's not my last reading. I'll leave the queue open for a little bit. I know that things are kind of crazy out there right now, so there might be a number of people who need readings. And while I've got you guys, just a few shameless plugs because sometimes people leave towards the end. We're going to be having a webinar on June the 11th. That's going to be on the Venus retrograde in Leo. I'm actually going to be doing this early, right when Venus is actually getting ready to go into shadow. So that way, those of you guys who are wondering what's going to happen during the Venus retrograde, you get a heads up. I'll be putting this webinar on probably on some platform live. We're going to be streaming it. We'll post a link at some point during the live, so if you guys want to check it out, you can. I'm offering $15 off for anybody who wants to sign up before June the 1st, and then the price is going to go up, but it's going to be live on Sunday, June 11th. If you can't make it, don't worry. You can get a playback link, so you can play it back whenever you want. We're going to talk all about the Venus retrograde, all the aspects it's going to make. I'm going to talk to you guys about my world predictions. And those of you guys who are having some like love troubles or like weird soulmate things or like weird karma with relationships, we're going to talk about that. I'm going to make some recommendations on how to navigate that. And if you guys haven't already seen the May horoscopes, the June horoscopes, the June horoscopes are already out. So there's lots of new content that's out on the channel right now, just so you guys are aware. And I know some of you guys hang out here with me every week, but I will not be here next Friday. So Friday, I will not be here. It's going to be a full moon, so I would probably not be doing readings anyway, but your girl's going to be on vacation. So if you guys want to get a reading, I recommend getting it in because I'm not going to be here for 2 weeks. Mystic Road. Let me see if I have you for May. I can put you on there, Mystic Road. So we'll take Emma, Mystic Road, and then the rest of the people who I've got on my list, Stephanie, Jonathan, Rachel, anybody else who wants to check in. Thanks for tuning in, Lightweaver, even though it's super early there. All right, so let's take a look and let's see what Emma has a question about. I'm going to be working with the Victorian Romantic deck today, one of the newer ones that I don't usually use. Usually you see me using my beat up one. I'm really weird. I won't really switch decks until like the deck's falling apart. Okay, so Emma says, hey Candace, cashing in on my monthly. It's been a roller coaster for me lately. What can the cards tell me about what I should be focused on during Gemini season to remain in alignment? All right, let's take a look. So what can the cards tell us about Emma and helping her strap in and navigate this roller coaster time? Anybody else feeling like they're on a roller coaster? Any other fixed signs that feel like they're like going at life, like at warp speed right now? Oh my goodness. Okay, so in this order, we've got the Devil, the Page of Wands, the Two of Cups. How is that for my cameraman? I'm not gonna mess with it. All right, so first of all, we're starting off with a rather interesting card, huh? The Devil card can talk about Saturn. It can talk about Capricorn energy. It can talk about getting stuck, bad habits, obsessions, fixations, trying to kind of get out of like a sticky situation, right? So this card coming up first is saying like you might feel bound by something or that you're unable to get away from something. Can be bad habits, can be work or career related. What's interesting is I'm wondering, is it you getting stuck in your feelings? Like what's the deal here? The Devil with the Page of Wands and the Two of Cups. First of all, the ending is positive, right? The Two of Cups is saying asking others for support, meeting other people halfway, connecting with relationships, being able to find that you can have support. Sometimes it's asking for a hug. Sometimes it's asking for, a helping hand. Emotionally, though, Cups deals with the element of water. But I'm wondering, like, are you having a difficult time moving through some emotional challenges? Are you feeling like there is something that you can't move on from, that you can't escape from? Or are you feeling creatively blocked? There can be like this feeling also of needing a little bit more playtime, romance, and excitement to be able to kind of get the edge off from some of this like heaviness. Page of Wands can be playful, it can be creative. It can talk about a new opportunity that's coming in where it's about participating in some romance, right? For fun. It can also be about creative expression, drawing, dancing, sharing. Pages are considered to be the youngest of the royal court, so they haven't learned how to master anything. Eventually they will grow into a king. So when the Page of Wands comes up, it can be a fire sign entering your life. So it can be a Leo or an Aries or a Sag. But it can also represent getting in touch with that child side of yourself and like learning how to play and like learning how to express yourself. I really feel like a lot of this is about learning how to be in the moment, right? And like using opportunities to go and express yourself and be with other people and have fun and experience closeness without feeling like, oh my goodness, I'm never going to be able to move on from what has happened. It's not like you're using people, but like you're using that opportunity to go and spend time with other people to get you out of that negative headspace where you're feeling stuck. Maybe you're having a difficult time and feeling stuck in the past. I'll tell you guys, with the planets that are coming into squares with the nodes right now, there is this sense of, are we going to move forward into the future or are we going to stay stuck in the past? And one of the biggest themes that we're going to see over the next few weeks is if we choose to move forward into the future, we can have more love. We can have more creative time. We can have better self-expression. We have more of an opportunity also in being able to really have the things that our heart truly wants. So if you've been feeling stuck in relationship stuff or in showing emotion, sharing emotions, feeling better emotionally, I feel like you're going to feel better being around other people. Now, the Two of Cups can be a relationship card, but it can also be about going and having a one-on-one with a counselor. It can be a therapist. It can be somebody who's encouraging you to just be more so active in expressing your emotions. It can also be about being active in general. So I wonder if this is about moving the body and kind of shifting things a little bit and maybe being able to participate in, actions with other people. Can you go for a hike with some friends? Can you go and walk the dog with a family member? Can you go and, hang out with a group of friends and do some creative, work together? The more that you're around other people and you're not left to your own devices, you're going to be feeling much better. You're not going to feel kind of stuck in the doom and gloom of feeling like you can't get out of a situation. Okay, I'm just seeing I'm seeing your messages. I've been getting out of my own way. Lots of emotional challenges keep coming up. Romance hasn't gone to plan. And I mean, try not to be stuck with that aspect. Yeah, I mean, here's the thing. 2 of Cups in the final position is an indication that on the other side of whatever's been going on can be a better relationship, can be a better partnership, can be more support, right? It can also be you feeling like you're more capable of getting back out there again. But the Devil and the Page of Wands, the only warning that I would have for you is not getting stuck into the trappings of relationship drama or getting stuck into, you know, conflict with other people because of physical desires and needs. Because the Page of Wands can be like, okay, I'm just going to go and get my fix. And then you're realizing like, no, I'm just falling back into these old patterns where I'm just, you know, surrounding myself with someone or getting into a relationship too quickly or globbing onto somebody because I want that physical connection or I don't want to be alone. So with the 2 of Cups coming up, it's saying there's other ways to get support and, you know, other ways to be able to have people who you can be around without feeling like it has to necessarily be physical or having to be emotional connections or even commitment. And really finding ways to maybe diversify how you're connecting to other people and getting out of your own way. But it starts with being stuck. It allows you to be a little bit more spontaneous and a little bit more creative. And it looks like it's ending with you having or being in a better position to be in a relationship, especially when it comes to romantic relationships and somebody who can, you know, meet you halfway. Hopefully that's helpful. What's up, San? Hey, Sonia. I'm sorry to hear that. Sending your sister lots of good vibes. It's been wild out there. I've heard so many crazy stories of people talking about sudden necessary surgeries and weird accidents and house fires, all kinds of Mars-related things. It's heavy out there. Good luck, Emma. I got Mystic Road. I loved a reading about finding a car. Is one already looking at going to come back around while I find something else, or is my current the car is my current obsession? Okay, so let's take a look. So is the one she's looked at going to come back, or is she going to find something else? She's trying to figure out wheels. Ooh. Okay, so it's in this order. Wow. Money talks. Money talks. I love that the Queen of Pentacles is coming up because I do feel like this is being able to possess or acquire what it is that you want. This is definitely a really strong position if you're asking questions about being able to purchase something or being able to obtain something. For me, that would be like a definite yes. Factored in with also the fact that the Queen of Pentacles knows how to make a good deal, okay? So she is going to sit there and not necessarily jump on just anything that shows up. She's going to shop around. She's going to see what is out there. She's going to see what people are asking for. She's going to kind of go back and forth with them a little bit. And then she's going to be like, okay, you know, we'll check back in with you. Like, you may be in a superior position where people who you've already talked to about making a deal come back around and they're like, okay, you know, we'd be willing to come down on the price. The World card is also a really great card because it does talk about completing the process. So it looks like you're really adamant about completing the process when it comes to being able to have wheels, the world. This also talks about being able to obtain what you want, having learned the lessons necessary. And the Hermit card is coming up too. So these are two contradicting energies. One is about being able to go and complete the deal, and the other one is being like, okay, I'm going to sit back and just kind of like wait. To me, it's about reminding yourself like, hey, I have the capabilities of being able to get the car that I want. It's just a matter of what's going to be the right price, what's going to be the right situation. The Hermit card comes up when it talks about reflecting on something, right? Reflecting on what do I really want? What's most important? What are my non-negotiables when it comes to getting the car? And also like going your own way. So it might be worth looking at a couple of vehicles, putting some feelers out there, you know, connecting with people, whether you're buying new or used. and then allowing them to be in contact with you. So if they don't sell the car, some time goes by, they may be willing to reconnect with you and say, hey, I haven't heard from you, you know, like let's talk about you getting this car. Are you still interested? And they might actually make you a deal. The Hermit card is connected to Virgo too, and the Queen of Pentacles is also connected to like earth signs. So you might be dealing with a Virgo, you might be dealing with other earth signs. It can also talk about being a little bit more conservative and being a little bit more frugal and not spending as much money. Even though the Queen of Pentacles has it, it doesn't necessarily mean that she's going to drop all of the cash on the really expensive, you know, purchase. She knows better, and she's going to wait until the most opportune time before she makes a move. Also, I would take into consideration whatever is going on in your natal chart. So take a look at what's going through your third house of vehicles. Some astrologers say it would be your fourth house, and you can also look at Mercury or the third house Lord. But I get the impression that, you know, you're either going to be, you know, kind of playing out the role of the Queen of Pentacles. That's like, okay, I've got the capabilities. I just need to wait for the right opportune moment to pounce. Or it might talk about you going back and forth with an older woman or somebody in regards to making a purchase, and somebody who wants to kind of complete the deal. It's not going to be somebody who's like, okay, look at it, you know, take it or leave it. They'll be like, hey, let's talk about this. I want to get this, you know, I want to get this vehicle sold. It's pretty safe to say also that round about the time planets are getting into Virgo, this is like a timing card. So second half of August, beginning of September, likely you're going to find that, you know, this is kind of sorting itself out and you're going to be able to complete this process of purchasing something. But keep in the back of your mind that just because you have the budget for something doesn't necessarily mean you're going to blow it all on a car, because there is some sense of being a little bit more cautious and conservative with what it is that you're buying. Hopefully that's helpful. Good luck with those wheels, girl. I saw a couple people popped in and they said that they made a donation. We'll leave the queue open for a little bit. So here's who I've got: Stephanie, Jonathan, Rachel, Andrea. We've got Miss Thompson. Is that Amira? Am I saying that correctly? Let me know. All right, so we're going to start with Stephanie. She's got a couple questions. I don't know if she's here or not. So first question is for 3 cards. She says, I was talking to this guy in Peru, and he and I had a bad falling out. We're supposed to go on a trip, but wasn't able to follow through due to health issues. I'm also not working right now, so that's another issue because all my finances have gone to medical visits. What's going to happen between us? Will he reach out? Is there still hope for us to be together? I'm very frustrated and feeling a little abandoned. All right. Hey, Elvie. Thank you. I appreciate it. All right. So let's see what's going on with this guy in Peru for Stephanie. I remember your astrology, and I remember the Venus retrograde being really significant from your guys' composite. Okay, so it was in this order. There you go. So we've got 8 of Pentacles, 9 of Wands, the Death card. Oof. Confirmation is the 4 of Coins. I kind of feel inclined to tell you, I'm going to work backwards. Like, don't reach out. Like, you need to let him do the reaching if there's going to be any connection here. Don't reach out. So 8 of Pentacles, you know, I don't know what the deal is. Like, maybe you've been using the reconnection as incentive to be like, I'm going to get my act together. I'm focusing on healing. I'm going to be feeling better. I'm going to be getting back on my feet, trying to make some money. So you have something to look forward to, because it looks like that was like incentive to get back into, you know, a normal life. 8 of Pentacles is working hard. It can be talking about both of you guys were working hard to be able to make that connection and coming together. Followed by the 9 of Wands, which makes me feel like it almost seems as if like you guys were against all odds. Location, timing, health, financial situations. It's like, even though you guys were both pushing and trying to kind of set this up to see each other, either both of you or one of you was like, this is getting to be overwhelming. This is a lot. Nine of Wands is when we get to the end of the battle and we're like barely standing up and we're just kind of surveying everything, looking around, going like, you know, how did we manage to make it through? It can be a position where one or both parties also kind of give up. There can be a sense of being like, okay, this is just going to be too much for me, right? The Nine of Wands can also indicate that, you know, one person is left hanging the bag, left holding the bag emotionally, and can be like angry or very frustrated about how things were left. So for you to be saying that you're feeling abandoned definitely makes sense with that card coming up. And then the Death card is coming up, which is talking about necessary change and transformation in regards to the connection or potentially even like relationships. The Death card is a difficult card. That can mean basically whatever has happened has happened. There's no coming back. Now that doesn't mean you guys won't reconnect, but it can mean that he left you in a situation where whatever went down between the two of you, whatever falling out you guys had, it was bad. And you're like, this is showing me a side of somebody that I can't come back from. Or it can indicate that you're going through some kind of change or transformation or some kind of crisis, and you felt like he didn't show up, that he wasn't there, or he wasn't willing to show up for you, and like left you feeling high and dry. And it made you realize you're not just going to forgive and forget this situation. You're not going to be able to just move on. Painful situations come up with the Death card. It can also be talking about, you know, feeling at a loss and like there's no way to be able to revive the relationship, that there's nothing that you can do to kind of bring that back, right? Because the Death card literally means death or regeneration of a situation. Sometimes that card comes up that's saying like, hey, at least it came up and it was some, you know, shocking situation, but it made you realize that it may not have either been the right time or the right person, or it brought about some kind of crisis that's like pushing you to realize like, you know what, this is not going to work. Confirmation card, Four of Pentacles is what I got. That was the bottom of the deck. And the reason why I brought this up was because I use the bottom of the deck to confirm whatever the Death card is saying. So sometimes if I'm left on a cliffhanger, I'll pull the bottom of the deck and look at it and go, okay, is it really over, or is this just like a pause? Four of Pentacles is saying do not reach. It's about not holding on to the situation. You may already feel like it's going against your beliefs, reaching out to him and trying to kind of piece this back together anyway. Feeling abandoned, feeling mad, especially when you feel like you've put work or you've put time or effort into the relationship. And, you know, this is about craftsmanship. This is about spending time creating something. So the time that you've spent talking to each other, developing the relationship, getting to know each other, really focusing on building that trust and having something beautiful that was coming to fruition, only to feel like somebody just kind of dropped the ball and then they're like, okay, good luck, you know, or didn't give you closure at all. Oftentimes Nine of Wands, sometimes some of the Swords and the Death card is like somebody just leaves and you're like, what were we even doing? Why were we talking so much? Why was there so much effort? How can you go from putting in so much effort to suddenly just being gone? So the Four of Coins is saying, be careful of what you're holding on to. Holding on to this may not be the way to go. It can talk about, you know, over the next 4 weeks, 4 months, there being a situation where if you're kind of standing your ground and you're keeping to yourself, it's allowing this process of kind of clearing everything out with the Death card to take place. And it can be creating situations to start new in relationships or in regards to him. But with that card coming up, I would not reach out to him. I'm sorry, that sucks. For your other one card question, I had my best financial year in 2022, and then this year I lost it all to paying for my health issue. Now I'm swimming in debt and medical bills. When will I find a job and be able to reach the same financial gains I made last year again? Let's take a look. Thanks, Leah. Hey, Jasmine. We're doing $20 donation for 1 card, $40 for 3 cards. Hey, Ann. Hey, Tiffany. Once you guys have made donations, just let me know. I will check the queue on PayPal in just a second. You can scan that up there, and it'll allow you to make a donation, or we take Super Chat. Okay, so when is she going to be able to potentially find a job and get back on her feet financially? Do you have any guidance for that? Oof. Five of Swords. To me, this feels like things are really kind of crossed mentally right now. You know, Swords is a card that talks about intellect, communication, ideas. It's the element of air. So it can literally be saying tension, strife, you know, fear, pain is in the air. Like there is a sense with the Five of Swords coming up that you're finding it very difficult to move on from the past. Moving on from conflict. Like being stuck, as much as I hate to say it, is a state of mind. I also feel like this can be talking about other strife that's like surrounding you. So, you know, we have the Four of Swords, which is about healing. We have the Five of Swords, which is about having some kind of conflict and like mixed ideas and like things not really kind of coming to fruition and having a difficult time expressing yourself. And then we have the Six of Swords, which does talk about going through a transition. It's so important to be making a conscious effort to be clearing the way that you look at the situation. Difficult, right? Going through all the physical stuff. I know we've talked about how you've been trying to kind of heal this particular ailment and it has negatively impacted your ability to feel like you have financial security, but that can be clouding things. So to get to the Six of Swords, I think it's really important to be super mindful of how you're thinking and looking at the situation. Yeah, you've gone through your savings, you've had to kind of go into debt, but also you are here, you're able to start working on some of these health issues. You're going to start to see things, I think, rebound a little bit at the end of summer. The confirmation card that you get for the Five of Swords is the Ace of Wands. It's about changing up the energetic way that you express what's going on in your life. It can also mean that there's new opportunities that are coming once you're clearing some of this stuff out. Like, you know, air element can be incense, it can be sage, it can be invocations, words of power. It can also be about like energy healings and like cutting and like clearing situations. It might be beneficial for you to like sit down and make a list of all of your grievances. And then right before a new moon, like burn it. So that way you can clear that out and do like a mental kind of, you know, detox and cleanse. Five of Swords does say until there is some shift that's going on with things energetically, you're not going to see things kind of rebalance themselves. But after that, the bottom card of the Ace of Wands is the confirmation that then there's going to be something new that's going to grow. One of the biggest themes of the astrology right now that's really challenging for pretty much everybody is the need to let go of something in order to let something better in. So I would really recommend taking a look at like where Taurus is in your chart, because that's where you're going to be seeing the new stuff that's coming in. But it's being challenged basically by Mars and Leo. So the astrology now through the beginning of June is pushing all of us to let one thing go, bring another thing in. It's happening in financial signs. Focus on clearing the mental stuff revolving around what's been happening so you can get to the next step of bringing in something that's going to be more positive. Hopefully that's helpful for you. We've got, I guess it's not Jonathan. Somebody said it's probably not Jonathan. Polly, let me know what your question is. You guys need to put your question in the memo, please. I've got Polly, Rachel, Andrea, Ms. Thompson, Amira, Leah, Danielle, Anne, and Susan. What's up, Susan? Okay. So let me know what your question is, Polly. What's up, Melissa? Hey, Word. Welcome. I'll come back to you, Polly. Let's go to Rachel. Rachel says, would love a card on romance if I would love a card if romance is coming in. It's been a long dry spell since last year. Virgo rising, Taurus sun, Gemini moon. Thank you. I got you, Rachel. So what does Rachel need to know about her dry spell? Ooh. She's got 7 of Cups. You know, I think honestly, and this is probably the best way to navigate a Saturn and Neptune transit in your whole sign 7th, is romanticizing the idea of a relationship and life and what could be. Okay, that's really what comes to mind when I see the Seven of Cups. This is kind of like when you go on the shows where they have the contestants and then they're like, okay, behind door A, B, or C, and then they like unveil something. But secretly, you're probably sitting there thinking like, is it going to be a car? Is it going to be a trip? Or is it going to be, you know, like a total fluke and you end up getting something that you didn't want? That's kind of like the Seven of Cups. So you never really know what you're going to get. It can be about sampling things. It can be about seeing what options are out there and maybe trying things that you haven't tried before, dating different kinds of people, or perhaps even considering trying to meet people in a new way. Seven of Cups can be a little confusing though, because, you know, it does kind of talk about moving away from romanticizing the past, being open to the future, and depending on what you experience, you're either going to decide to roll with it or you're going to say, no thanks, I'm moving on, I'm sending this back to the kitchen. Sometimes with the Seven of Cups, what can also come up is issues revolving around not being clear about what you want, right? Because this talks about daydreams and visions and stuff that can be a little hazy and like Neptunian. So something you're going to feel pretty strongly here is you're getting ready to have, you know, Saturn is going to be going retrograde in the next month in your whole sign 7th house. So for Virgo risings, it's a time where if you have felt like relationships have been stuck or they've been hard or nothing's coming in, it can get easier. But you have to maintain a sense of boundary still and like being very clear about what your non-negotiables are with relationships. And you're going to see intermittently throughout the summer, Saturn and Jupiter are going to sextile each other. So the more that you're committed to, you know, having boundaries in relationships and being very adamant about what your non-negotiables are and having very high standards, the door for relationships really begin to open with that sextile to Jupiter. I feel like it's about being more adventurous also about how you meet people, where you meet people, what is possible. Like really sit down and come up with like this ideal list of what your perfect partner would have. And all of the things, even if it sounds really ridiculous, you have to really romanticize things right now and get very clear about what the perfect scenario would look like and what it would feel like, and you know, really kind of work with your imagination when it comes to getting ready to bring somebody in. Confirmation card at the bottom of the deck is the Three of Cups. So, you know, I do think there's going to be multiple options. I would have said that anyway with the Seven of Cups, but I think with the Three of Cups is saying there might be a sense of sampling this and sampling that, and like, you know, you can have a threes crowd energy, but there can be a sense of also just meeting people and having a good time and like not really being super fixated on where it's going and allowing things to kind of happen naturally and organically, and allowing the universe to kind of surprise you. Hopefully that's helpful for you, Rachel. That's a fun card. It's okay, Polly, no worries. So Polly says, wondering if I should sell our house. My husband's looking for a career shift, so it may be a way to secure more finances. Gemini rising, Leo sun, Taurus moon. Okay, let's take a look. So let's see what the cards say about Polly maybe selling her house. You're welcome. Ooh, the Magician. Anything is possible. I love this card for like, could we do it? Should this happen? Is this a good idea? The Magician is talking about certain things coming together that are getting ready to materialize, because as above, so below. Knowing also that you're a Gemini rising, I do think it's, you know, like you're dealing with Saturn. So you got Saturn going through your 10th, and you're going to be having a full moon that's getting ready to happen in your 7th. That full moon that's coming at the beginning of June is going to be very illuminating, and it's going to show you realistically whether or not you can change the home and, you know, the career stuff with your partner because of the square. So it does indicate things are coming into fruition. But the Magician card is really cool because it's saying like, look, magic can happen. Like if you're willing this to be the situation, then start getting really clear about how you want this to go down. It can be a time where you do something like ritually to help sell the home. So you might use one of those saint statues, or there might be a sense of you kind of going like, okay, if it's meant to happen, then this sign is going to appear, and then poof, it appears. And that's like your confirmation from the universe. The magician has all of the tools necessary to be able to make something shift. So if you're wanting to sell that, or if you guys want more money, like you have everything at your disposal, you know that you could sell. I would be mindful and be wary though of people who can come in that can try to convince you that, you know, oh, we're going to get you X amount of money and it seems like an unreasonable amount. Sometimes magician comes in when we have some people that can be, I'm not going to say shady, but people who try to sell you on things, you know. Knight of Wands is your confirmation card. So I do feel like this is saying like you're feeling very optimistic about moving in this direction, and it looks like if you do seize the moment, you'll be able to make a shift pretty quickly. I do feel like this might be like a total change altogether. Like if you're selling the house, you're moving, your husband might be changing jobs. It's like you kind of sitting down and going like, okay, we're getting ready to design our next life. Where do we see ourselves living? What is the environment going to look like? What kind of a dynamic do we have? How do we want our finances to be? You know, how is this going to affect our relationship? It might require a little bit of intuitive planning and trying to kind of put the pieces together, making it possible for you to be able to manifest this kind of future change. But it looks like you're capable of doing it, and it also looks like the money that may come from that house might allow you to do other things, because it can be about, you know, things kind of appearing and being able to make other things possible. So it's not even just so much about having more money. It's about what do we do with that money? What do we go and invest it into? What do we grow? What do we end up building or buying or developing? And how does that make other things possible for us in the future? It's a really positive card. Hopefully that's helpful for you, Polly. Thanks for joining us. Let's see. Last time I asked about my son taking my inheritance, no update. I'd like to move. Okay. Thank you, Anne. Very exciting, Polly. Good luck. We've got, let's see. I have $10 from Andrea. I don't know if you're here. It's a $20 donation for one card, so let me know if you want to pay the difference. Miss Thompson, Miss Maria. Hi, Candace. Traveling back to Norway for a sabbatical. What should I be open to look forward to? Virgo rising, Sag sun, Virgo moon. Ooh, we are getting ready to have that full moon, girl. That is a biggie. Traveling back to places from the past is the 4th house, and then you're going to have the full moon. So things are going to be very, very active in your life in the next like week or two. Let's take a look. All right, so what does she need to be aware of as she goes on this trip? In this order: 5 of Wands, the Moon, and the 10 of Cups. I'm wondering if you're feeling kind of like iffy about how things are going to go. I don't know if this is just like traveling with the state of the world, or if there is something going on where you're like, I'm feeling that there is some like potential challenge, some pressure, some conflict, some things that could like literally inhibit you from being able to like get there smoothly. It will be fine. All's well that ends well. 10 of Cups in the end. I think with the 5 of Wands and the Moon card, like, are you having some kind of stress, feeling like you're having to confront a situation, or you're going to have to confront another person? Like, are you worried about expressing your feelings or your emotions and like feeling vulnerable? Like, are you feeling like you're fighting to kind of hold back in sharing something with someone? 5 of Wands is, it's combativeness, you know? Maybe it's that you feel like there's a lot going on that's happening all at one time that's making it challenging for you to feel emotionally capable or fully, you know, ready to be present with enjoying your trip. Maybe you're feeling like, okay, it's taking a lot to get there and there's a lot happening and like you're just leaving and then you're like, okay, I hope it works out. The moon card does talk about what is subconscious. It also talks about lunar cycles, new moons, full moons. So pay attention to that. Just knowing that you have all that Sag and Virgo in your chart. The full moon's gonna be lit because you got the sun moving through your 10th house and it's gonna be making all these squares. Pay attention to the lunar cycles, especially within this next month, right? That new moon that's coming in Gemini next month. If you haven't seen my horoscopes, check it out. I talk about how the sun and the moon are in a conjunction and it's exactly square Neptune, which means you're going to be really focusing on career stuff, but you're going to be like, where does that leave me with where I'm living? Where does that leave me with my relationships? So, you know, the moon card is saying some stuff's not going to be figured out yet. You might feel a little like unsettled or a sense of being like, I'm going there. I don't know what's going to happen. I know eventually I'm going to come back, but I don't know how I feel about some of the, you know, the things that might transpire because the future is not clear. Yeah, it can be adjusting to time zone differences, definitely. And I feel like, you know, it may feel like a hassle physically getting there, right? Obviously, going to the airport in general, but going to the airport, going through security, waiting, getting on a plane, getting on a connecting plane, going to Europe, like that's a lot. So, you know, this does make me feel like there can be a sense of you kind of going, what am I doing? Like what's happening? Feeling a little discombobulated. But the 10 of Cups at the end is saying, you're going to feel good about going. You're going to be like, okay, I made the right decision. I feel a lot better here. Emotionally, I feel secure. Lots to celebrate. Maybe also there is a sense of you feeling like I'm home, right? The 10 of Cups can be seen as like a family card. It can also be seen as a, you know, a fulfillment on an emotional level. So where the Ace of Cups is the beginning process, the 10 of Cups is saying, okay, it was worth all of that struggle. And maybe feeling like there is some kind of big emotional reward as a result of going and being there. And I feel strongly that it's going to be about like pushing through and overcoming and being vulnerable with your emotions on the trip. And maybe you're just finding that you're more so emotionally kind of sensitive. Maybe there's just a lot coming out of you. Maybe there is a sense of getting some kind of insight and feeling like you have a better handle or understanding on whether or not you would live there, relationships there, because 10 of Cups can be about relationships and things actually playing out a lot better than you anticipated, just being a hassle with the whole process of getting everything ready to go and also feeling like it's a bit of like an uphill battle, 5 of Wands. But once you get there and you get settled, it looks like it's going to go well. And I feel like there's going to be like lots of either emotional fulfillment or gathering together with other people and feeling very welcomed once you are there. So I don't know if you've already got kind of community established there or you're going to end up meeting people and connecting with people who are going to feel like family. Really awesome. We're going to leave the reading sign up open for like another 5-10 minutes. So if you guys want to get a reading, you can scan the QR code up here. So let's see, who do we have? We have, if you're thinking about extending your trip, I feel like honestly, once you get there, you're going to seriously consider it. Because 10 of Cups is like, everything is really great. I want to be here. I definitely think that's something that you're probably going to realize that you're going to want to do once you get there. Because 10 of Cups is like, everything's great. Why would I want to leave? Let's see. So did we hear from Andrea? Is she here? I've got Amira. Just one card. Any particular question you have, Amira? Oh, there she is. Marcia says, do it. Let's see. Let me know, Amira, if you have a particular question. I will answer it for you. I still haven't heard from Andrea. Are you here? There she is. What will be the biggest thing that will happen to me this summer? Am I going to go on am I going to have a spiritual awakening or meet new people? Cancer, moon, and sun, Libra rising. Ooh, girl. If you're a Libra rising with sun and moon in Cancer, right now Venus is out of bounds in your 10th house. It's really, really good for career and reputation right now. Let's see. Especially if you're a Cancer. Are you having a lot of people tell you how pretty you are? You should be with all those transits. So what's going to happen for her this summer? Is she going to have a spiritual awakening or meet new people? Oh, wow. Well, I mean, obviously, we know you as the Queen of Cups being a Cancer is going to be about getting in touch even more so with your intuition. We're going to see lots of aspects all summer long that is going to be pretty wild for a Libra rising. I think the key here is going to be listening to or learning to listen to your intuition, right? Being a Libra rising, you're ruled by Venus. So love, connection, relationships, partnerships. Venus is going to move and spend 4 months in your 11th house. So that's going to be 4 months of expanding groups, expanding networks, hanging out with other people. But Venus also rules your 1st and your 8th house. So it's about you changing and transforming, and there in turn, you're changing because of the people who you're surrounding yourself with. So you might want to be around shamans and spiritual people and magicians and psychics and empaths. But it can also be, friends that are very loud and proud and dramatic and creative. So it's going to be an interesting transit. I definitely think that it's going to be about you shifting the way that you look at who you want to spend time with. The downside is, yes, you can find out who your true friends are. But the Queen of Cups coming up is a really positive indication that it's going to be about you getting more so in touch with your emotions and your intuition. And I think better understanding what to listen to and what to follow, and knowing what to buy, who to invest your time or energy with, what is time for you to let go of, that kind of stuff. Yeah, but that's a really good sign. For you being a Cancer and that comes up, you're going to see this pretty much for several months long, and it's on the heels of of Venus having been out of bounds. So really significant for you right now as it's going through your 10th house. Everybody's going to be telling you how sweet you are, and you're going to be bringing in a lot of attention, which is going to allow you to connect to other people. I love it. Good luck with this summer. It's gonna be a fun one. All right, so who else do I have here? Did Andrea pop in? Let's see. Girl, I got a Sag Stallion. I've done it before and I'll do it again. Yeah. Extending flights is your middle name, right? All right, let's see. Who else do we have? We have Leah, Danielle, Anne, and Susan. Leah says, I want to know what is going on with my emotions and whatever that I need to know at this time. Thanks. All right, Leah, let's take a look. Let's see what comes up for you. I feel like if I were to get a tarot reading right now, I would ask the exact same question. I'd be like, can you tell me what's wrong with my emotions? Thanks. All right, let's take a look. Okay, in this order, I kind of feel like intuitively, like you're in this rebuilding phase. You're in a rebuilding phase. You know, the Star card is coming up first, one of the major arcana cards. It is talking about your goals. It talks about healing. It also talks about your connection to other people and what your goals are. That coming up as the first card is telling me that you're in the mindset that you want to feel like you're tapping into connection or deeper connection with other people. right? Or that you're healing something, healing things in regards to your goals, your dreams, your friendship. It is a card that's about community, so it is saying that you do have that. That's kind of nurturing here right now. The Star card can be talking about just goals in general, right? Doesn't necessarily have to pertain to anything in particular. Your goal can just be, hey, I want to feel better, right? That could be one thing that can be panning out. Five of Cups is feeling a little down, a little gloomy. When I see this card come up, I always tell my clients, like, don't cry over spilled milk. There's 3 cups that are spilled over in front of her. There's 2 cups in the background, which is saying that relationships are like on the way. There's opportunities for other people to come in, new relationships, new healing relationships. But the 3 of Cups can be like not being able to let the past go. There can be a sense of also not feeling completely emotionally fulfilled, or feeling so used to being in a state where you're in a bit of a funk that it's like becoming normal. That being in the right now card, I would wonder, you know, are you grieving something? Is there something or someone that you lost? Is there something that came to an end? Do you find yourself like reminiscing and thinking about what's fallen apart and what hasn't worked out versus, you know, what could be coming? I do think it's like really beneficial to have the 8 of Pentacles coming up as well, because this tells me that you're realizing what you need to work on, right? And like the lower moments or the heavier moods or the heavier emotions that are coming up are showing you like, okay, I got to get to work in this area of my life. I would really encourage you not to just work through things though. Like, don't throw yourself into work or to your career because you are trying to avoid like dealing with the inevitable, if that makes sense. Sorry, I've got something going on with my screen. I want to make sure I can see you guys. Let me close this out. I'll come back to it. I also have this feeling that with the 8 of Pentacles, it does tell me that you're more willing to kind of roll your sleeves up and do the work, where maybe there's some issues that are coming up from things that you haven't resolved in the past. It is also possible that you're looking at things going like, instead of putting a Band-Aid on it, I'm actually really going to work on it and heal it this time. I'm going to learn to ask other people for help. I'm going to pull myself out of the situation, and I'm going to make sure that I'm learning the skills and I have the tools necessary to not just work through it and heal it, but to not get back to this place to begin with. Oh, okay, now I see you. Exactly, because it's been a wild one. It's exactly right. I lost my sis in 2021. I'm really sorry to hear that. You know, sometimes the 5 of Cups comes up where, you know, sometimes like grief and just getting by and carrying those heavy emotions becomes normal, right? And like, obviously, like losing a family member is something super traumatic, and we may never ever really move on from that, but we can learn how to cope in healthier ways. And I think so much of like the grieving process is going to be healing through other people. So I wonder, like, have you gotten the opportunity to really sit down and talk about this with other family members? Are there other people who maybe you haven't opened up to this, who you have not opened up to about this? Do other people think that you're fine and you're thriving and that you're okay and you've moved on, or that, you know, you're doing okay and you're not as, you know, upset as you are on the inside? Because if that's the case, it tells me that, you know, it may be beneficial for you to connect with other people, and there can be some healing through that connection with a group. I also think that the 8 of Pentacles can be like going in and working on, you know, new ways of being able to manage the grief. I don't really think it's like so much work. It's going to be like, can you craft? Can you create things? Can you write a story? Can you write music? Other ways that you can, you know, perfect something or do something in honor of that particular person to help you through the process, and also not feel like you have to carry it with you, right? To me, this makes me feel like something that you might do like in memory, because the 8 of Pentacles is what you're like building or working on and creating, and the 5 of Cups can also be talking about like the sadness, and it's like the vessel that you're creating to put that into. So maybe finding a creative outlet can be really helpful, but I also feel like it's important to not just let other people think that you're doing okay. If you're really having a difficult time, then let other people know so you can get some support, and also learn some new skills when it comes to better kind of managing the grief. But you are going to come out the other side of it. It is looking like something probably happening right around that full moon in Aquarius. So right around like the 8-week mark, you're going to start to see the shift. Started speaking slowly, but it's been a journey. Capricorn moon, yeah. So don't bury your emotions in work. That's what happens when you have a lot of Capricorn stuff. It's natural. Capricorn stellium, I know. But the key here is to find a way to make something productive of those emotions, right? And it doesn't have to be work. It can be something that you're creating. Sending you lots of love. I hope that's helpful. It does look like it's going to get better, and you're going to get better at learning how to manage those feelings. So we are going to close the readings in 1 minute. So if you want to get in there, you guys can get in there. We've got Danielle, Anne, Susan, and then Tracy. Danielle says, I'd like a quick message, advice on my life path at the moment. I got you. You're welcome. So let's see what the cards say about life path advice for Miss Danielle. Libra rising gang. Keep on keeping on. Cancer sun, Libra moon, and rising. So maybe it's just me. If there's other Libra risings in here, you guys, we can commiserate together. Work, and more work. Saturn in the whole sign 6th. You know, the 9 of Wands coming up, on one hand, is a positive indication that you're kind of in the tail end of like flushing some old cycles and old patterns out. So it's right when you're getting to that point where something is getting ready to kind of finish up and you're like, okay, like, can I do this? Can I not do this? It might feel like you're kind of in the process of just kind of surveying where you've been for the last couple of years and really asking yourself, like, am I going in the right direction? You know, am I just surviving or am I focusing on thriving? It's not a bad card. It looks gnarly, but it is kind of like getting to the end of something and feeling like you're on the point of just being like, I don't know how much more I can take. Am I going to give up? No, don't give up. You know, Saturn does well in the 6th house as long as you're managing your health and you're managing your routine. Saturn doesn't do well with Libra because it quincunxes Libra. So where Venus-based rising signs want it to look good, they want it to be pleasurable, they want to be friendly, they want to have it all together. When Saturn's in the 6th house, work and consistency and health trumps all of those things. So you don't always have the time to look your best. You don't always have the time to focus on relationships or love life. You feel like you're just really sticking to a structured routine and it feels a little disjointed. So I get the feeling with the 9 of Wands is kind of being like, I want to get to where I'm not just surviving, I'm not just getting by, I want to get to a point where I feel like I'm making some headway. And the good news is that the 9 of Wands will lead you to the 10 of Wands where you are going to complete something. And so I do feel like it's going to be something either in regards to your creativity, it can be some of your health goals, it can also be about your fire houses. So the 3rd house, Sagittarius, 7th house, relationships, 11th house, which deals with some of your, your friendships and your goals. A lot of Libra risings are going to find that really the next couple of months with Venus going into the 11th, and then a Venus retrograde is like, you need friends too. You need to socialize too. It can't be all work and no play. So I think right now it's about getting to where you're realizing that it can't just be about surviving, having to get out of survival mode, but also having, to give yourself a pat on the back for being able to overcome some of the things that have been going on in recent months. But it looks like you're finally coming to the end of that particular challenge and realizing that you don't have to do things alone. That's the biggest theme that comes up with the 9 of Wands, is not having to do everything by yourself. Okay. Hopefully that's helpful for you, Danielle. We've got Anne, Susan, Tracy, Tara. Readings are now closed. Let's see. Anne. Let's see. I know you said something back here. Anne says, I'd like to move. When should I stay in Cincinnati? Should I stay in Cincinnati with grandchildren or what? Let's look. All right, so should she move? Should she not? What's on the horizon for Anne? You're welcome, Danielle. What's up, Anne? Happy Friday. You sound like a sassy grandma. I like that. Okay, in this order. And what if I told you you can have your cake and eat it too? It looks to me like you don't want to settle, you know? Oh, it's the Sag rising. That's why you're sassy. So Queen of Pentacles coming up, right? So that's talking about somebody who is really thinking things through, being mindful of their resources, planning, and anything in regards to physical changes. So I like the Queen of Pentacles because she kind of rules the roost. She has a say in things. It can talk about you taking a really grounded, kind of practical, logical approach to some of the things that are going on with this decision in regards to staying or moving. The Magician card in the Seven of Cups is telling me that there is something here that's screaming that you're looking for adventure. You need a change. Neither one of them are like, 100% yes, move. This is more saying there needs to be a shift in regards to either your life or your lifestyle. The Magician is really asking you to get real about what you can manifest and make happen. So when this card comes up with a queen, essentially the queen goes to the Magician and he says, she says, I need this thing. And he's like, okay, I'm going to make it happen for you, but you have to be willing to go through the Seven of Cups. This is about getting creative or feeling inspired or considering a multitude of different options. It might suggest that it's not necessarily as black and white as I either stay here or I move. It might mean that you get to a point where you're like, you know what, I need to travel a little bit, feel out a couple other places, come back and then make a decision. It might mean that you get into a situation where you find a place that you might be seasonally and then you go back and forth, but it's not a wholehearted, committed lifestyle change. And the Magician, I think, is kind of saying like it is possible for you to make this happen. Seven of Cups makes me feel like you need to just get out right now. And part of the reason why I think you're feeling like it's black or white and making a decision is because you're either really cooped up or you've been in the same situation for a while. And now all of a sudden you're like, okay, now I have to move. As a Sag rising, Saturn's in your whole sign fourth. So that does make you feel like, okay, I'm stuck at home and I have responsibilities and family members and things like that. And like, I don't know what to do. So I definitely feel like the Seven of Cups for you is just about exploring other options and seeing if it's possible for you to go and like even be somewhere closer to like coastal areas or being somewhere closer to communities that are going to have similar interests. The Seven of Cups can be spiritual communities, retreat centers. It could be water, beaches, healing centers, retreat centers. And I feel like, perhaps a little travel will do you good and help you from making like kind of like one of those off the cuff harebrained decisions that Sagittarius sometimes make where they plan their entire life out and they decide they're going to move somewhere because they really just need a vacation. And yeah, I mean, the truth is like, look, being a Sag rising and knowing that you're getting ready to have eclipses and the North Node moving into the fifth house, you're going to go one of two ways. You're either going to really enhance your love life and focus more on love and relationships and anything in regards to either a committed relationship or finding someone, or you're going to get stuck at home playing grandma and your kids are going to start having kids because Sag rising eclipses is going to activate your fifth house of children and the Venus retrograde is going to activate your ninth house of grandchildren. So if there's more kids or kids are getting older or kids are starting to convince you, no, don't leave, we need you, yeah, you're going to get stuck. So I feel like there's something in the middle, feel a couple places out and see what's like calling to you and give yourself like permission to maybe like go into a stint for a couple days or a week somewhere and feel that out. And you might be able to do something that's like smaller because Saturn in your fourth house is basically saying you need to be conservative with what you're spending on home. And it might allow you to be able to do two things, right? Anything is possible. Sun in Aries. So you have the eclipse is hitting your sun in the fifth house. So then pay attention if you have a son or it would be your first child. That's where you're going to see the most action that's going to be coming through there. Hopefully that's helpful. I hope you get an escape. I've got Susan. What's up, Susan? Susan says, let me know what you see this year as far as money and relationships. Could this be the year I meet him? I'm beginning to wonder. Let's take a look. So what are we going to find for Susan? Another sassy grandma. Those are my favorite. Let's take a look. Oh, girl, you're asking for it and you're getting it. This Nine of Wands. This episode of Beyond the Veil is brought to you by Nine of Wands. Everybody's sick of everybody's shit. Everybody's like, I'm sick of doing it alone. We've got the Devil card coming up with the High Priestess and the Nine of Wands, which, you know, that's very much like, when is it going to end, right? Like, I know that there's temptation, there's what I want, there's something coming in. This can be a man, this can be a Capricorn. There's two Devil cards in this deck. There's the Devil card, and then there's the other one that's kind of like sexy. This is not the sexy one. This is like the one that comes up that's like, are you going to repeat patterns? Are you going to get stuck into the same old bullshit with a relationship where there's some kind of conflict or there's drama or there's limitation? The High Priestess is coming up, and so she has some foresight. She's able to kind of like meet somebody and know like, you're trouble. That's not going to be a good mix. And then it also talks about tapping into your intuition and really asking yourself, okay, do I want to break away from the past? Because the Devil card in the past position is saying, there's been somebody who's been plaguing you, or there's been a situation where you haven't been able to get out of the grip of a past relationship. It's like haunting you and you want to start new. So the High Priestess comes up and goes, okay, I'm receiving this vision. I have this feeling somebody's going to come in. Nine of Wands. Yes, you're not going to have to do it by yourself for much longer. Yes, you're going to be wrapping something up very significant in regards to some of this like heaviness with relationship karma. You're also a Scorpio rising. So like the Jupiter North Node connection happening on the 1st of June. All of the planets that are continuing to move through your 9th house is going to be really good for love at a distance, or, you know, connecting to somebody who might be from a foreign land or somebody who's further away. Men with horses are going to start showing up because you got Jupiter in your 7th house. And they're wealthy men, right? They might be, you know, wealthy. They might have land. They might have some kind of experience with training horses. And Jupiter rules your 2nd house. So it's good also for like clients and other people coming in. But I do feel like what you have to gain is really great if you're willing to kind of get out of like the claws of the past. Just for confirmation, I just flipped over the deck and I remember how I was saying, oh, there's another Devil card. Here's the other Devil card. So it is really reinforcing the Devil in this particular spread, saying, where are you stuck? If you're willing to, you know, let go of an old unhealthy relationship pattern or habit, you can bring in another person, but what are you feeling bound by? Like, what's going on here? It can be an indication that there's like a Capricorn coming in, or somebody who's got a really strong Capricorn or Saturn kind of signature. Possible, right? Saturn's moving through your whole sign 5th. So you're looking for true love. It is sometimes something that's more commitment oriented. It's more serious. And Jupiter and Saturn are going to sextile each other. So there is some kind of controlled growth that's going to be happening over the summer. But I think the key here is just kind of really tapping into the fact that maybe you have felt like you've been alone in relationship situations and you've had to carry the weight, and you're realizing like that's not part of the vision moving forward. You want somebody else who's going to do more for you. So with Jupiter and Uranus and the North Node still in your 7th house, you're going to have a nice stretch. And I know you're like a mid-range Scorpio rising. So you'll have Jupiter in your 7th house clear until next year. Really pay attention to what's going on with some of the Venus retrograde, because Scorpio risings over the summer with the retrograde in your 10th house, it changes with relationships, changes with career. It's very likely to happen. And it can become very public. So I'd be careful mixing business and pleasure. That can be a bit of a challenge, but it can be a time also where during a Venus retrograde, if you felt like relationships haven't been working, right, and that they've been kind of stagnant, it gives you the opportunity to wrap that up, clear things up, and then move forward. So it can be a time where if things have been slow, suddenly relationships can come in. But I think it's about you learning to maybe let go of past habits and patterns in relationships, be more so open to somebody who's probably going to be more Jupiterian-like, right? Hopefully that's helpful. Let me know. I'm sure you'll tell me all about it. Your rising sign, though, is it Libra or is it Scorpio? I know the retrograde is going to be in your 10th. I know that for sure because I remember your Venus is a late degree Venus. We got Tracy, Tara. Who is this? Is it, oh, Hustle Amp, Lindy. Looks like Tracy again. And Lindy again. Looks like some people changed their mind. They came back for double dipping, huh? That's okay. And then it looks like we got Iris in there. Okay, cool. We've got Tara after Tracy. Okay. Tracy says, one card pull. How is my romantic partnership future looking? I'm an Aries sun, Scorpio moon, and rising. Ooh, Tara, that's a whole lot of Mars. No worries. Or excuse me, Tracy. I'm looking at both of you guys. This is for Tracy. How is your romantic partnership future looking? You're the inverse of me. I'm a Scorpio sun, Aries moon. Oh my goodness. Is this real life right now? The Magician again? Confirmed by the Star card. Ooh. So what's going on? Are you doing some like meditation, visualization? Are you manifesting literally? The Magician card is basically saying, as above, so below, getting ready to bring something from the ethers and make it physically real. But it's also about aligning things, right? So sometimes it's about doing magical work, setting intentions, working with all of the elements. That does tell me that there is something shifting, and it can also be something shifting within yourself, realizing that you have the magic, you have the capabilities of being able to bring someone in. Mars is going through your 10th house as Scorpio rising. So one thing you want to think about is Mars is super powerful. That's also your sun sign. So as it's going through the 10th house, Venus will follow. Getting out is really significant. Being seen, right? And so I think that there can be like this real focus right now with the Magician card coming up. Like as you're going out and leaving the house, or as you're going places or going to work, it's like telling yourself like, I'm going to meet them. They're on their way. They're almost here. I'm going to meet them soon. I don't know where they are, but they're coming. And you want to get into the habit of doing that because it's going to allow you to better kind of connect with somebody. That confirmation card that I got, the Star card, is also talking about wishes. So what are you wishing to happen and manifest in regards to your relationships, right? You'll hear for just Aries in general, because pretty soon the North Node's getting ready to go into Aries, that the eclipses are going to be all about you, what you want, your body, your needs, really tapping into that. So you got something cool going on where you're still reaping the rewards of Uranus and Jupiter in your 7th while the eclipses are moving into your sign. So it's about bringing in what you want, right? Focusing on what you need. Depending on where your sun falls, could be in the 5th, could be in the 6th, being a Scorpio rising. I would look at that because the 6th house is going to be more about service. The 5th house is going to be more about creativity, romance, children, that kind of stuff. But at the very least, the Magician is saying you're already setting those intentions and working with some kind of manifestational process of being able to really bring in exactly what it is that you're asking for. And definitely, I think the Scorpio risings are having a lot of good mojo when it comes to romance and relationships with North Node, Jupiter, Uranus in the 7th, Saturn in the 5th. It's about getting serious about love. And as you see those two start to sextile the next month or so, there's going to be lots of opportunity for relationships to come in. But it's all about reminding yourself when you leave that you're open for business. Good luck. Now we have Tara. Oh, you know what? Hold on a second. Oh, but make it 3 cards. Okay. Now I'm just seeing this. Okay, so sorry, Tara. Tracy wants another 2 cards. So first we start with the Magician. Page of Pentacles. Ooh, there's the Lover's card. Okay, I like this. So it starts with the Magician of manifesting, moves to the Page of Pentacles, which is right now planting the seed. Pay attention, an earth sign might pop up, right? Taurus, Virgo, Capricorn. I'm reading what you're what you sent me. Okay. And this can also be about planting the seeds for new relationships. It can be things that can physically, last, right? Pages, Pentacles can be about things that last, but it's just kind of getting into the flow of like maybe trying again, dating again, learning to make more of an effort, putting more time and dedication into getting to know someone. And then the Lover's card is a really great indication that there's going to be like a really passionate connection. In this deck, I have 2 Lover's cards and 2 Devil cards. So for the Lover's card to be popping up, it does talk about some opportunity for there to be like a really sensual, romantic, almost like, I don't like the term like soulmate, twin flames. I don't really use that, but when this card comes up in the last position, if you're asking about relationships, it's saying like it is possible to have everything that you're looking for, right? The Magician coming up first is maybe saying that you're like, I've had situations where people like me, but I don't like them, or, we connect, but there's something missing and something's off. So the Page of Pentacles is really focusing on quality, taking your time, making sure that you're getting to know somebody and really making sure they check all the boxes. And slow, right? Pentacles can be slow, being very picky or particular about what you're investing your time in. And then we've got the Lover's card, which can be an indication that there's a connection. Look for earth signs, maybe a little bit of like a Gemini placement that's kind of thrown in there. So you might meet a Taurus that's got some Gemini stuff, or some combination between Gemini and Earth that's going to pop up. And this is about June. So June, kind of June time when we're in Gemini season. So you can see something that can literally happen within the next month or so. Thank you for letting me give you the other 2 a little bit late. I appreciate it. Okay, so now we've got Tara. Okay, so Tara wants 1 reading with 4 cards. Tara says, I'm a Virgo rising, Scorpio moon, Gemini sun. Any insight on my connection with Rob, the Virgo sun? We have a connection, but we're not physically together. What's coming in for me? Thank you. All right, Tara, let's see. So you Virgo rising, 10th house, whole sign sun, Scorpio moon. So what's up with her and Rob, the Virgo? Oh, girl, looks like you guys have been going through it. These are such contradicting cards, but it's also very interesting. So feel free to give me feedback. 2 of Cups, 3 of Swords, the Empress. The 2 of Cups is like meeting, connecting, getting to know each other. 3 of Swords is like being disappointed, feeling heartbroken, not feeling like the connection is mutual, somebody who can't fulfill what you're looking for, somebody who's still going through some kind of heartbreak, or they're having a difficult time moving on and healing from the past, or maybe feeling like you guys connected and it was like cut short, 3 of Swords is one of the more difficult cards in the deck of tarot. So I'm wondering what's going on right now, where either somebody hasn't been ready or there's been some kind of disappointment revolving around the connection. Followed by the Empress card, which can be about a rebirth period. It can be saying that there is more time for loving, nurturing, partnership, togetherness. I'm wondering what the deal is, though, because you go from having like the 2 of Cups, which is spending time together, connecting, maybe even hanging out, going on dates, to something being cut short. And then the Empress card, which can be talking about putting yourself first, putting yourself in a situation where you're like, you know what, if they don't have any love to give, I'm going to give it to myself, and I'm not going to allow this to kind of break my heart, hold me down. I'm not going to allow myself to kind of hang around and wait until somebody figures out that I'm amazing. I'm going to treat myself well and not fall back into patterns of feeling like I'm waiting for someone or that someone's breaking my heart. The Empress card can also talk about things happening in increments of 3. So 3 weeks, 3 months. It can talk about a connection, but it's more so stemming from you choosing to put yourself first. And maybe needing to go, like, you don't see it, it's going to be your loss, and like moving forward and not taking it personally that person didn't choose you, because it looks like it's a situation where that person is lacking the capability of either being able to heal, love themselves, or show up fully the way that you are. And so it's hard because there's a sense of being like they couldn't give you enough, but that you had to carry on anyway. Followed by the Emperor. Do you have like this feeling that you're like, I just know that like we're going to be together, or like he is like my person, or we're a perfect match and it doesn't make sense right now, but I feel like we're supposed to be together, and like some disappointment that the timelines aren't lining up? Because I could read it that way, you know, not to be like overly optimistic, but I could read it that way because the Emperor and the Empress are a pair. So one of two things are going to happen here. You realizing your worth and moving on and not waiting around for him is going to make the Emperor show up. Or it's going to push him to realize like, whoa, she's amazing, might lose her, you know, like I have to kind of get my act together, and then the Emperor appears. So for the Emperor to be coming up with the Empress, it's saying either which way you slice it, you're going to get what you want. But the fact that you are picking yourself and moving on and not taking it personally and not allowing it to kind of get you into a place of where you're closed off to love is probably the most important thing. And like so much self-love with the Empress, like pampering yourself, taking care of yourself, having really high standards, low expectations is like the key here. And continuing to keep things moving forward, because somebody's going to show up who is going to appreciate you and treat you the way that you deserve to be treated. It's a matter of you realizing that that's what you're worth and not settling for less than that. But who knows? I think maybe you doing that might bring him back around, right? Pretty positive spread there. Well, stepping back is great, but you're going to step back and somebody else is going to step up. Hopefully that's helpful for you. Thanks for popping in, Tara. Reading hustle, yoga flow. Any particular question you have for me? And then I've got Lindy. And then we've got Iris. I love that, Tara. That's great. If you guys can do me a favor, if you have not already liked the stream, if you can please give me a thumbs up, I would greatly appreciate it. And make sure you guys are subscribed so you are alerted as to when I have videos coming out on the channel. We're here most every Friday doing live readings. And if you guys want to get a reading with me every month, pretty much for the price of a reading, you guys can sign up for my level 3 memberships. You support my channel, you're going to get a shout out, and you're going to be one of the first people that we do readings for. You can pick your reading, astrology or tarot, once a month. So let's see. So we've got this for reading hustle, yoga flow. Let's see what the cards say for you. Ooh, there's that Emperor again. Boom, boom, boom. Something about this makes me feel like this can go in a couple different ways. The Emperor pops up archetypally as like owning something, showing up for something, managing something, being a boss, being a father, being a parent, being a man. Divine, working with that kind of divine and masculine, tapping into that sense of like Mars. This is a very Mars card. Then we've got the Queen of Cups coming up. So it can be talking about emotions, intuition. It can be talking about water signs. So Cancers, Pisces, and Scorpios. But when the Emperor is coming up with the Queen of Cups, it can be talking about mastering one's emotion, mastering one's intuition, getting in touch with really knowing yourself, but also recognizing where certain emotions are coming from. And then we've got the Four of Pentacles. So on one hand, it could be like, okay, I don't want people to know how I'm really feeling. I'm kind of emotionally distancing myself and holding back. I don't want to let people in on what's happening right now, trying to kind of keep your game face on. It can also be talking about that you're realizing and recognizing that you're needing to be better with some of your financial boundaries, your career or work boundaries, your emotional boundaries with other people, and really working hard to kind of protect your, psychic sensitivity or your emotional body. It's also possible with the Queen of Cups, it can be talking about relationships that you're having with employers, relationships that you're having with a father figure or a man or a boss or an Aries, and feeling like there is a sense of needing to kind of step back a little bit. You know, Four of Pentacles is like, I'm not going to move, you know, I'm just going to sit here and wait until I see the situation play out, or learning to be more cautious about what you're holding on to, what you're letting go of. I feel like this is really going to be about paying attention to your emotions, because the Queen of Cups wants to master the emotions in some way. And the Emperor coming in, bringing that energy also of being like, okay, I need to, you know, be on top of this. Realizing that your emotional blockages can be affecting your relationships. It can be affecting the way that you look at your control. It can be affecting the way that you look at your career. And maybe there's some emotional stuff that's coming up and you're realizing that there's something that's blocked, and like you're needing to be the one who shows up and like heals it or works through it in some capacity. Confirmation card that I got for you is the Seven of Wands. So that can be saying that anger, defensiveness, frustration can be coming up. Very common right now, okay? The next like week or so, we're going to see Mars, you know, still kind of in hard aspect to Pluto and also the nodes. So if you're noticing that some eruptions are happening emotionally, getting angry, reacting, feeling short-tempered, it's something probably that like you're needing to channel in a better way. It might also be about you realizing that you need to take some kind of action, and you're no longer willing to just kind of sit back and watch things play out, that your emotions are going to be the gauge for teaching you where you need to step up and either take control of a situation, defend yourself, but also be a master of your emotions. That's going to be a big theme for you in the immediate next like 4 weeks or so. And any connections to either Aries or bosses or like a parent seems to be really significant. Perhaps some of the blockages that you're going through can be connected to one of these people. Hopefully that's helpful for you. Thank you for your donation. We've got Lindy. Lindy asked 2 questions. So she says, I'm a Cancer Sun, Aquarius Moon, Virgo Ascendant. Started a new job. Have to get multiple certifications. Very nervous. How will this go? What do you get? Well, what do I get? The sun's going through your 10th house. So it's all going to be about career stuff. You know, it makes sense that there's a new job and that there's certifications, because Jupiter and Uranus are in your 9th house. So it's tying in together your 7th house Lord of partnerships and your 6th house Lord of routines and coworkers and training. And the 9th house is going to be about what you're learning. So yeah, needing those certifications. Right on time. Right on time. But as a Cancer, you know, you got Jupiter 10th house to your sun. So new job, potential for more money is really positive. In this order, I get the Star card, the 6 of Pentacles, and the Knight of Pentacles. I like this for you. New groups you're going to be working with. Obviously, you know that, but that's also part of Pluto and Aquarius in your 6th. But the Star card is like goals. Like, what are your goals when it comes to, you know, increasing or growing when it comes to your career? I think that this is going to be about working with new groups of people, where there's support from new groups of people. You may be having opportunities to train with others, study with others, things of that nature. So take any opportunity you get to be able to collaborate with other people, because you might make friends too, right? You might start getting to know the people that you might potentially be working with, and it can be really positive for you. I also think that this is about your goals coming true, okay? And I've heard a lot of Virgos in recent years, and I've heard a lot of Cancers also in this last year or two kind of be like, man, I just need a change at work. I need a career change. So yes, it's challenging, but I do think it's positive, because you have to look at the 9th house as being what is positive and what's changing, and it's the bigger picture of your life. It's trining your ascendant. It's sextiling your sun. So you're going to be with new groups. You're going to make new friends. 6 of Pentacles, giving what you put into situations, give and take. I feel like there's lots of opportunity for people to help you, okay? So there might be people who want to help show you the rope. They're going to help with hands-on training. They're going to give you their feedback. They're going to be willing to kind of, you know, help you. So I don't think it's going to be like go get the certification and then, good luck, you'll figure it out. Like, you're not going to be on your own. And as long as you're asking for help and you're asking questions and you're checking in with people, people are going to be more than willing to help you. Okay. And this is really, really good for your astrology, because from Cancer perspective, Jupiter, Uranus in your 11th, new groups of people. From your Virgo rising perspective, you're seeing that in the 9th house. So maybe they're different. Maybe they're having to, do group trainings. Maybe you're having to go back and, talk to people, even post certification, to make sure that you're retaining this information. New financial growth and opportunities for you, Knight of Pentacles. I do think it's worth the investment of time, or I do think it's worth the investment of what you're paying for training, if you're paying for training. I do think it's also setting you up to make more money in the long run. Knight of Pentacles can be a message involving your future financial security and the fact that you're in the process of taking action and learning skills that's going to give you more capability on the job in the long run. So even if you don't stay in this particular, in this job, you're probably going to be learning skills that's going to allow you to continue to grow your career clear into the future. That in itself, I think, is very valuable. And with the Knight of Pentacles, slow and steady wins the race. And that is the archetype of a earth sign. I know you're a Cancer, but I think it's really talking about being able to really take your time. Virgo risings are very analytical. You guys can spot something off a mile away, and you're all about the details. So you'll be able to take your time when it comes to this training, and I don't think that you're going to have any issues adapting. Just don't rush yourself and really, take your time. Looks really great for you. I'm excited for that. That looks like a wonderful opportunity. Looks like you asked another question, and you want to know also about love. Building confidence for sure. That's so great. All right, let's take a look. So is there anything that we see in regards to love coming in for Lindy? Oh my goodness. Devil, High Priestess, Lovers. Saw a similar spread here not too long ago. First of all, hi, we've got a 3-card major arcana. So this is the first one we've seen for the evening. So for me, when I am pulling a spread and there's a ton of arcana cards that are coming up, it's like the tarot is like screaming at you saying, hey, there's big change on the horizon. Obviously, you should know, being a Virgo rising, Saturn's in your 7th. Or going into your 7th if it has not already. So pay attention to the Saturn retrograde. I bring that up because the devil represents Saturn. It also represents temptation and whether or not you're going to go back to the past, or if you're going to repeat old patterns in relationships. People from the past can come back, sure, but I don't really think that's what this is about. I think it's about you kind of going like, I'm breaking through challenges revolving around relationships. And with the High Priestess in the center position, having a hunch or intuitive feeling that somebody's getting ready to come in. Dreams, maybe it's part of getting a reading, maybe it's something that you've been seeing for yourself intuitively, or people have been telling you like, oh, I want to set you up with someone. The High Priestess doesn't need to act though. People show up and they come to her. So with the High Priestess being here, it can be about you meeting someone who is more spiritual or more tapped in or more open. Having Pisces on your descendant means that you can bring people in who can be into metaphysics, or they can be into art, creativity, things that are more Piscean in the Jupiter sense, not so much the Neptune sense. The challenge here, I think, is with the devil and the Lovers card coming up, is like not just jumping or leaping into something because there is a really strong physical connection. And like, I'm not going to say play hard to get, but the High Priestess isn't going to chase. So there is a sense of being like, I'm here, I'm available, you can come get me if you want to talk, I'm open to it. And I think that's going to play into your favor because the Lovers card comes up as the final card. So it's saying that there can be a very passionate connection. There can be lots of togetherness. There can be a sense of there being a lot of compatibility, but also like opposites being attracted to each other. And you see that a lot when you have signs that are in, similar modes. So that's not unusual to be a mutable sign and you're interested in a mutable sign. Here's the devil card again. Hilarious. We've seen 2 double devils. And that's basically saying in so many ways that don't get swept up in the lust and the physicality of it. If you're wanting to break those patterns and not feeling like you're getting into relationships for all the wrong reasons, or relationships that burn up overly quickly and they may not evolve the way that you want them to evolve, there is a need to practice some sense of caution and awareness and taking your time and being slow. That is Saturn in the 7th house. I do think that you're going to see lots of support, though, obviously from Jupiter. And so perhaps maybe you get to know somebody by talking to them about their beliefs, talking to them about, you know, where they've traveled, talking to them also about, you know, going on places together. That's really going to be really positive for a lot of Virgo risings, is you'll get to know somebody if you're traveling with them, and perhaps even relationships at a distance. If what you're looking for is a physical connection, and if you're like, you know, wondering if you should tiptoe in the direction of doing that, it's a green light if that's what you want. But if what you want is to go beyond that temptation and that physical connection, and what you're really wanting is like a kind of a soul union, it's saying don't hesitate to really tap into what it is that you're hoping and desiring to achieve in a relationship. And also know that you can sit and be open to receive. You don't have to go after them. You can send out that vibe without feeling like you need to act on it. Really interesting spread. that could turn naughty very quickly if that's all that you wanted. I'll say that. Hopefully that's helpful for you, Lindy. Good luck with the new job. I've got Iris. What's up, Iris? Oh, never mind. She wanted a different name. I apologize. I did not see that because that pops up after your name. I've got Taurus, 28 degrees rising, stellium in Leo, Mercury, Mars, Venus, and the Sun. I'm going to assume that you're watching. Will I get pregnant this summer? What about a shotgun wedding? Taurus rising, and your stellium is going to be in Leo, which is very much connected to your whole sign 4th house, where you have all of these planets in the 4th house. I'm sorry, I have to click on the button, so I didn't see your name until afterwards. Okay, so let's take a look here. First of all, girl, just some life advice here. Knowing that you're going to have a Venus retrograde through your Mercury, which could be children, Mars, which could be men in conflict, Venus, which could be relationships, and Sun, please, I want you to go back. I want you to think about summer of 2015. Then I want you to go back and I want you to think about 8 years prior, okay? Those 2 summers, what happened? What happened those 2 summers? Just think about that. I'm not saying do it or don't do it, but when there's a Venus retrograde and it's going through your personal planets already, it's going to be a little haywire, okay? Things can become undone. 2, being a Venus ruled chart, you're asking for trouble. And you've got Jupiter and Uranus in your sign, so you want to get pregnant. And, you know, there's going to be a Venus retrograde and a Mercury retrograde, so you'll hear as a Taurus, it's like, oh shit, I'm pregnant. You know, we got to move in. We're doing this thing. And it can be kind of chaotic. And with the Venus retrograde square Jupiter, Uranus in your 1st house, you can be like a madman and just be like, I want to do it. I want to do it now. We're going to do it. Let's go. And like, if that's what you want to do, by all means, boo-boo, it's your life. But it may feel as if you're pouring gasoline on a fire is what I'm getting at. Let's take a look. The eclipse also, by the way, at the end of October, around the 28th, there's going to be an eclipse at, I want to say it's like 13 degrees of Leo. No, not Leo. What am I saying? 13 degrees of Taurus. Round about there. That eclipse is going to be on the 28th. It's going to sit conjunct your whole sign ascendant. So that can also be an indication that there's a pregnancy or something that's showing right about then. All right. So let's see what's going to happen here. All right, so when the High Priestess comes up for me, that's giving me in a reading in general, like whatever I already told you, it applies. Okay, so just take that into consideration. Like it applies because I already kind of gave you the message. Because the High Priestess in the center position is saying, you know, somebody already told you. 3 of Wands is saying, look, that seems to be the plan. That seems to be what you're considering doing or what you're thinking about doing. And you're already in the process of like, how can we move things along? Whether it's the relationship, the living situation, the home situation, you name it, that's what's happening. The High Priestess right now is saying, what is your vision? Are you having dreams about things? Do you have an intuitive hunch about that? you know, having Uranus in your 12th house, like you'll have dreams that are precognitive where you're literally seeing stuff that's going to be coming and you're like, okay, do I make it happen? And then we've got the Death card, which can be about like a definitive change that is a change, and it's not necessarily easy. This also represents your 7th house, which is Scorpio. The Moon card, to be honest with you, I kind of get the vibe that this would be a situation that's kind of like, oh, I got pregnant. What are we going to do now? Because the Moon card seems like it's something that's like secretive or not really like being forthcoming or like telling somebody that you're looking to do this. It just kind of is something that happens, which initiates the change, which is not necessarily going to be easy. So I would really go and like listen to some of the forecasts over the next month or two about some of the Venus retrograde stuff, because you're going to start to see the shadow as early as I think like mid-June, and Venus is going to square, it's going to square Jupiter, it's going to square Uranus. And if you start seeing static then, that's kind of like a red flag to like really pay attention to what's coming for the Venus retrograde. But death can be a death and a rebirth. So it can be saying like, okay, there's this crisis that happens and there's this thing that takes place. Okay, now are we doing it? I get the impression though that with the Moon card, there's going to be something that is concealed or something that is not shown, or maybe you guys don't tell people right away. But yeah, regardless, like the plans are already in motion. So 3 of Wands, the High Priestess, is saying you've already started the process of getting ready to do these things. The Death card is just reminding you that it is going to be a definitive life change, which I'm sure you already know. And then the Moon card is basically saying there are still some things that are getting ready to be revealed. And being that you're going to have Mars and Venus side by side going together, star-crossed lovers, it's great because you guys are going to have lots of home and domestic stuff going on anyway. But because Mars is going to create drama, that's your 7th house, and Venus is going to go and pick up the pieces, you might feel like you're ready to move forward with some of this stuff, and then you realize that a partner is going to make things a little bit more challenging than you were anticipating when it comes to bringing some of these things together. So watch for the unforeseen events that might start happening that can be highly emotional, and it's about listening to your intuition and knowing when to navigate some of these changes, right? But knowing that you got Jupiter Uranus that's going through your ascendant sign squaring, you're like, we're going to do this. This is what we're going to do. Here we go. And everything is going to feel like it's like very fast. And I would assume by the time that the Venus retrograde is over and you're getting into the Mercury retrograde, which will be in September, that can be a time where you're taking a test, Mercury retrograde in the 5th, to find out if you're pregnant, and then possibly showing or telling people by as early as like the end of October. So September, October, November. Yeah. So yeah, right around that time, 2.5, maybe 3 months based off of the transits in your chart. Hopefully that's helpful for you. Good luck. It's going to be a high adventure. I would think that a Venus retrograde is also going to be about whether or not you have a big enough space. Looks like we had somebody else sneak in that I didn't see, but that's okay. It was around the same time. I just didn't see it. Is it Anais? Is that your name? I want to make sure I'm pronouncing it the correct way. You're welcome. We've got your Scorpio, and okay, I just broke up with my boyfriend of 5 years. In my heart, I feel I'm doing the right thing, but I'm scared if I'm making a mistake. Help. All right, let's take a look. So you were born on the 5th of November. So let's see what the cards say about this breakup after 5 years. Okay, so my question is, do you feel like somebody else is coming? Did you meet somebody else? Is there a third party involved? What's going on here? Because this is what I got. Okay, so I got the final card was the 3 of Cups. So sometimes that card comes up where it's like, I met somebody else, I think it's a better move. Sometimes that card comes up because you're like, I know I'm going to meet somebody and I just know that he's not fitting the bill. I don't know, feel free to give feedback. But Page of Cups, Knight of Pentacles, Three of Cups. So we've also got two people coming up here. These cards are positive cards. These are not bad cards, even though there is a sense of, you know, obviously that's a big decision after being with somebody for 5 years. Page of Cups can be talking about like really getting in touch with your emotional needs. It can also talk about emotional immaturity. It can talk about the need for new opportunities in love or relationships. It can also be talking about a younger person or a child. So sometimes this card comes up where you're like, my partner is literally like acting like a child and I need something more. Or this feeling of like really questioning whether or not that person's got, you know, what it takes to be able to fulfill what you need in a relationship emotionally. Can be an indication of new opportunities in relationships. Can be also talking about water signs, so Scorpio, Pisces, and Cancers. Then we have the Knight of Pentacles. So I do feel like I'm kind of wondering if you're saying, okay, I'm breaking up with him because I want to see what else is out there. And if this creates a little bit of like a shakeup for him where he realizes like, whoa, you know, if I don't do something, if I don't go get the girl, this is the only Knight, by the way, that's with a woman. If I don't go get the girl, I'm going to lose her. So it can spark something in this other person that makes them realize like, okay, you know, I've been slow and kind of getting my act together, but like maybe now I'm more willing to do that. The Knight of Pentacles can also be talking about, you know, a Capricorn, a Virgo, or a Taurus that comes into your life. And I do think that, once again, there's two people here, right? Two people. And then we've got the Three of Cups. So this can be saying three is a crowd. You're like, okay, there's another person and then there's this relationship and the relationship ain't working. And like, because I connected to this other person that I have like a real strong emotional connection to, you may consider going in that direction. And, you know, the Three of Cups is about having fun and celebrating and being together and having a good time. And it can be talking about leaving a relationship on a whim because something seems more exciting or that there's more potential romantic connection. Confirmation card is the Knight of Swords. So is that you? Oh, there you are. There is someone who showed up. Yeah. So the Three of Cups makes me feel like, although there's a strong connection there, the Knight of Swords, does that other person know that you're leaving your partner for them? Because the Knight of Swords makes me feel like there's going to either be a conversation about it or it's like a rushed situation where you're rushing into a connection with a new person. No judgment. I just keep in mind, there's a lot of court cards coming up here, which means there can be a multitude of people who can show up. There can be a number of people who can kind of pop in if you're not totally convinced that this person is who you're meant to be with. Generally, with the Page of Cups, you're looking for romance, but then as the spread progresses and you get to the Knight of Swords, there can be a sense of indecisiveness and like kind of being a little restless and being like, now I got to see what this other person was about. Did I make the right decision? Do I go back to my ex? Like there can be a sense of changing your mind here. And I would be very careful jumping all into it in a committed sense, because the Three of Cups is saying have fun, be in the moment, have that connection, but realize that you've got somebody who's probably going to be questioning what they need to do to be able to remedy the situation and come back. And there's possibly going to be a sense of you feeling a little restless, questioning whether or not this is somebody you want to move forward with. And if there is a need to connect with somebody, because you're going to realize that there is a sense of there being some stability or there being something solid or reliable about the person who you were originally in a relationship with that you left. And she's asking, do I give the Taurus a chance? So the only the signs that are being represented is a water sign, an earth sign, and then I think this is about you being indecisive. So Knight of Pentacles is a solid person. They're reliable, they're committed, they're consistent. So I do think that that is something that is very possible. But intuitively, I still feel like what's going to happen is you're going to get to know this other person and you're going to question whether or not you're making the right decision, and you may consider getting in contact with the person from the past. There's nothing wrong. There's nothing coming up here other than the fact that there's some relationship juggling. Three of Cups is like, okay, I've got this and I've got that. Which one do I go for? Super common when that card comes up. I would just encourage you, if you're going to get to know somebody, it sounds like you've made the clean break from the first relationship. Give this other person a chance, see what they're all about. But don't proceed forward and do anything serious and commit in any way right now. Because the Three of Cups wants you to keep things light and wants you to kind of feel it out. And then you can kind of integrate a little bit into getting to know this new person and decide if you want a relationship. And if you don't, then cut that off and then you can go back and connect to the other person. Because if you're juggling more than one thing with the Knight of Swords coming up, you're going to get kind of restless and stressed about whether or not, you know, you're spending too much time with one person, and if you need to kind of back away from the other person. Like you're not going to lose the boyfriend that you just split up with. He's going to be there. But I don't feel like it's always like A or B. In this situation, it looks like it might be C. It may not be either of these people. And it may take you getting to know the new person to realize like, okay, I could go back, but this may not be a fit either, right? Kind of having a Goldilocks moment. You're going to have to try a couple beds and decide which one's going to be the most comfortable. Okay, bad reference, but whatever. But there is a sense of seeing what else is out there. So, you know, don't freak out and go back to the other person if this is not a match. I think it's time to really reevaluate, and don't feel stressed and feel like you have to go back, because something is missing there with the relationship that you just ended. And I'm not saying that because you ended it. There is a sense of there's not like emotional growth. Like to me, it feels like emotionally stunted with the Page of Cups coming up. It's like the relationship is not getting to that next level that you're hoping that it's going to get to. And I think you're going to see more of what you're looking for with this other person, but I can see you're going to kind of oscillate and go back and forth between the two. So give yourself some time to kind of feel it out, you know? Hopefully that's helpful for you. Thank you for your donation, for sneaking in there. I appreciate it. Well, that was it for me for the evening. Thank you guys for hanging out with me, for liking, commenting, sharing, and subscribing. I really appreciate it. As a reminder, we'll have astro weather that's going to be coming out on Sunday. We're going to talk all about the full moon in Sagittarius that's coming. I've got some other videos peppered throughout this next week that's going to be coming out, and I will not be here next Friday because I'm going on vacation. So if you're part of my members and you don't see me next week, don't worry. I'll be back the following week. We'll post the link. And I will be seeing you guys when I'm back. Otherwise, thank you guys for hanging out with me. Please enjoy the rest of your weekend, and I will see all of you guys very soon. Take care.